Hi, my name is Riley and I'm documenting my truck camper build process. It is a second gen 2014 Tacoma access cab 6-foot bed SR5. It has a tow package. I've done all sorts of things to it, just like little things here and there. I'm in the process of um, getting a different bumper, and I added little lights here and there, and I'm painting the front grille, and just things like that. But the focus of this video is on the camper build part of it, and my main concept or main kind of want for this is not a full blown out camper build that I live in the truck, because I do use the truck for other things. Like I need to buy an oven soon and I need to haul that. So I wanted to build a camper that's easily removable as well. So there's a lot of sacrifices that I make in terms of, I want to have all the cool things in the camper, but I also want it to be removable because I do use the truck. So I'm going to kind of go through what I've been doing so far, um, and kind of my initial steps. Yeah. So this is my initial starting point. I cut a piece of plywood. It's birch plywood. It's not the, I didn't buy like the $100 4x8s. This is like a $60 4x8. Yeah, so the Tacomas have this side lip, and you can see it accentuated by the wheel wells here, but it's about an inch thick that the plywood can rest upon. And there's also additional notches that you can put, I think like a 1x8 or something, to reinforce it. And if you just Google around, you'll see people using 1x8s or 1x6s to haul lumber as well. So it's almost as if Tacoma was meant to build a little platform in the bed. And then this is all the plywood cut. Um, Measure twice, measure 10 times in my case, and hopefully cut once. I do have these bed stiffeners in the back here, and that was a little tricky to kind of measure, but I think it turned out really well actually. And I have this extended all the way to the tailgate. I think there's like a 1/4 inch gap. Yeah, so I'm really happy with how that turned out. And I did leave a little space around the bed stiffeners because I thought it would be useful to be able to reach down there, and if I wanted to strap some, you know, tie downs or something, I still have room to wiggle there. And then you'll see here that my topper, it doesn't fit exactly. I've got some weird clamp system going on. I do need to figure out a better, more elegant way to do that, but unfortunately the topper is not made to fit this truck exactly, so it's a little bit too narrow for this truck, but that's a problem for another day. This is the back quarter panel of the topper, and originally I wanted to have all the switches in this area, but it's not enough room. It's only about 2 inches between the back window and the side of the wall. So with all the wires sticking out, I wanted to have kind of like a long rectangular box there, but yeah, unfortunately I can't necessarily put switches there. So I'm going to be putting it somewhere else, and I think later in the video I might talk about where I'm going to be putting my switches, or at least for now. And here's me cutting out the handles for the platforms. I think you can see where I might have gotten inspiration for this whole build, and I think later down the line I might do a convertible sofa table thing as well, using these platform boards as well. But yeah, and this is more or less the final product. All the bones are there. I created these little supports because after I sat in it for a while, it did sag, maybe half an inch or so. But after putting these little supports, it's so much more sturdy. Like I can lay on it without fear of it bending. And here's it all lit up at night with some cheap little strip lights that's wired very not OSHA safe. Obviously, I need to block out the windows somehow. Um, yeah. And here I am scoring a cut for what will eventually be a shelf. The scoring really helps prevent splitting. Um, yeah, this is going to be a shelf, and I mentioned that switch panel. I think the switch panel will instead live on a shelf. So I'll show you that in 1 second. So this area where I have the shelf just kind of friction fit right now is where I want to put a box to hold all the switches and USB plugs and all that stuff. I want it to be easily accessible from the rear tailgates. So I think that's where I want to put it for now. I'm sure things will change, and I think that's part of the reason why I wanted this to be not such a permanent build. I want it to be easily removable. And what I'm thinking here is I might put some brackets, but I also might 3D print some kind of ZL bracket. There is a little space behind these square aluminum bars. That's the skeleton of the topper. And I just might make it so that it just hangs off these bars. And then I'm thinking about maybe suspending the shelf with some Dyneema cord or something. Okay, so that was kind of like the first part of the rough build. And then in the second part, hopefully I'll show you the more finished build and hopefully just out in the wild and camping. So yeah, it's just stay tuned, I guess. Thank you.